Welcome back to the channel, y'all. This is Twins and Things, and today we got a special monologue or rant. Now, I wanted to talk about this whole Ruby Rose with her fan situation, right? It's a very interesting thing, and I want to highlight some of the dangers of OnlyFans, where I think she went wrong and where I think he went wrong, as well as some takeaways we can, take away from the whole situation. So if you don't know, or if you're not already familiar, a fan of Ruby Rose's, I think he's claiming to be her biggest fan actually, spent over $62,000 on her in an attempt to, I'm guessing, buy her love or get her attention. They met in person, and there's a picture of them two, and the picture speaks for itself. He's very excited, very happy, and she's pretty distant. And they're in the same picture, and I'll put it on the screen, but the picture speaks for itself. So he apparently spent $62,000 on her, and then what led after that is a string of messages of him blowing up her phone in an attempt, to get attention, recognition, validation, or whatever it might be. In these messages, we see some very disturbing things. It's the typical type of obsessive type of messages that you would expect from someone who has a problem, right? And I'll have the messages playing on there as I'm talking. I'm not going to really read any of them right now because I've already read it a couple times. But there's some disturbing things in there. And then we even see he has her tattooed on his body, repeatedly tattooed on his body. And it's just a very weird situation, honestly. And it's not really a situation. It's just a really weird event that's going on. So where do I think that she went wrong in all of this? Now you might be thinking, Dylan, how can you blame Ruby Rose? She's the one getting the money. She's the one just living her life. He made all these decisions. That's true. And although nothing has happened as of this point, that's not to say that nothing can't happen. Mind you, somewhere in these messages, he talks about finding her by chance. Or he said, I'll spend X amount of money just to run into you, right? So this is a guy who has an extremely large amount of money, and he used this money to meet Ruby Rose in the first place. He then alludes in those messages that he can do that again. Now, this is why I'm saying where she went wrong. In the messages, you'll see there's a string of messages that he sent that, she never replied to. Now, I'm not sure who's advising Ruby Rose, but I know people, and I know people have feelings, and, feelings can get hurt and whatnot. Personally, I think it would have been smarter just to send some type of reply to this person so Ruby Rose doesn't have to look over her back or shoulders for the next how many years this guy is still out there and alive. And I'm not saying he's a violent person or anything like that. It's just the way the messages are seeming. He might be like one of those guys that is the type to, unalive his pop star, his idol. The things in the messages are very reminiscent. I already said this. They're very reminiscent of someone who has an obsession with somebody. He's talking about he's loved her since he met her. They're meant to be together and all this other weird stuff. So personally, I think she went wrong by not sending a message. I think she should have sent at least one. Totally ignoring him and knowing he's still out there and knowing he found you one time means he can find you again. He's made it clear he has the money to find you again. He spent $62,000 on you. You haven't responded to him. There's just not a lot of things that I would feel comfortable with if I was in her position not replying to. And let's be honest, did the man not deserve it? $62,000 on you, you can't give a reply? That's a little low. That's a little wild. Think about that. You can call him wrong all you want. $62,000. And for you not to reply, though, is crazy. It's actually very wild. So, yeah, I think that's where she went wrong. And obviously, I'll have to talk about him. And where he went wrong is obviously doing all of this in the first place, right? I don't know what kind of self-respecting man would spend $62,000 on an OnlyFans model and expect anything other than what he's getting right now. He spent $62,000 on an OnlyFans model and is surprised that she's not in love with him. it really doesn't make sense. So yeah, where he went wrong, being an overly obsessive simp, and he's actually making it a lot harder for everyone else out here. But we'll get to that later. He went wrong with being an overly obsessive simp. He went wrong with doing the message thread. There was maybe a way he could have gained from this situation. Actually, there's a lot of clout around her name. He could have definitely attached that to his name and started something else entirely. But he took this and did so many mistakes with it. The pure fact that we're talking about this means what he did was actually of, like, it gained traction, right? And it might be because of the negative side, but he could definitely turn that into a positive himself. So yeah, he's wrong on every front that you can probably think of that I haven't said. He's wrong on every front there. So we're not gonna misconstrue that. He's definitely probably the biggest simp I've ever heard of in my life. I've $62,000. You out your damn mind. Whatever. So yeah, some of the takeaways from this. Men, as you've seen, and hopefully as he showed you, it's not all about the money. And it'll never be all about the money. This is the equivalent of a woman, or no, this is the equivalent of a man dating a woman only for looks. Because ladies, it's not all about the looks either. Are looks why we will have sex with you? Yes. Just like how money might be the reason you might entertain us. It's not all about one or the other. At the end of the day, you still got to be a decent human being. I still got to be able to talk to you, want to be in your presence, and overall enjoy your company. So take this to heart, men. It is not all about the looks. And if you look at this guy, he has a lot of tattoos. He wears glasses. He's a white Caucasian male. He looks kind of weird. He looks kind of creepy, honestly. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable leaving him with my niece. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I'd look at him and be like, I don't know. Let me stick around. Make sure nothing happens. And I'm not saying anything like, I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't know people. So yeah, man, it's not all about the looks. Hopefully this guy, this simp, has showed you that it's not about the money. Hopefully this guy has showed you that. For us, it could be about the looks, but yeah. Another takeaway, it's not all about the looks. And women, it's still 2023. Men are still men in 2023. Regardless of how you feel about that man that did that, he is still a man. Meaning he is still dangerous. Right? You can't just... I wouldn't get too complacent if I was Ruby Rose, thinking that he is not a man obsessed with me. Men's crimes of passion are worse than women's because we'll normally actually get the job done, to be honest. And then we will take care of ourselves. I'll just say it like that. We will get the job done to take care of ourselves, because when a man is resolved to do something like that, he will get it done. So, yeah, it's still 2023. Men are dangerous. I wouldn't put myself in situations like that. And if you are going to put yourself in situations like that, at least send a text back to this obsessed, dangerous man. And I say dangerous man because we don't know what he's capable of. And if we don't know, we might as well just assume he's dangerous. That's the safest thing to do. Assume he's dangerous if you don't know what he's capable of. But yeah, so those are my takeaways. That was my rant or monologue blog on the Ruby Rose situation. Very interesting. I want to get to doing these type of videos more, just because I want to get better and more comfortable to, just speaking to the camera without a script or a reaction video or whatnot. So yeah, I hope you guys like this. We out. Twins and things, baby. Content, creativity. What was the last one? Creativity, content. I don't remember. You'll get it. I don't know.